All right, what's up, y'all? Okay, okay. Welcome back to another episode of Charles the Rams Ramtastic podcast, if you want to call it that. But we're just gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about some Rams news that has happened this week, and talk about pretty much what things are looking like after the week 1 loss to the Bills, and look a little bit at the talk a little bit about the Falcons. Talk a little bit about some of the transactions that they did. Not nothing too crazy, but just you know, it's Wednesday. Wednesday, it's been it feels like it's been a long time. It kind of, I don't know if maybe it's just me, but it feels like it's just kind of been not a crazy amount of time, but a decent good amount of time since we've seen the Rams on the football field. And obviously that's because they played on Thursday as opposed to Sunday, so that's a few extra days there. And week 1, pretty much the Bills whooped us, It's a loss, 0-1, it's not the end of the world. We knew they were going to be a good football team. I knew they were going to be a good football team, but I drank too much of the Kool-Aid, if y'all listen to the week 1 prediction, where I felt like we were going to Hulk smash the Bills. I think I said, 35-17? And, that just did not happen, did it? So gonna have to eat some crow on that. It ended up being the Bills who went Hulk smash and took us out to the woodshed and pretty much just whooped us. That's essentially what happened. They whooped us. And, well, if there is a time for a loss like this to happen, it's now. Okay, it's in September. Okay, it's best to get it out of the way now. Okay, final thoughts on the game. I suppose I'll just give my quick final thoughts on the Bills. Essentially, I feel like it was a game where we were beat by a better team that night. Bills were the better team that night. Um, though we also look like a team who had not played since the Super Bowl. As you know, the Rams, none of the starters played through preseason. I still agree with that decision. I'm not saying they should have, but I think keeping them fresh for the long season is a wise decision. And with all the injuries that we've seen on this team and other teams across the league, it's a wise decision just to, from an injury standpoint, to keep everybody healthy. Because, like I said, it's a long season. So, but the consequence of that is you're going to look rusty. Okay, we won the Super Bowl last year, but we look like a team who has not played football in several months, and that's okay. That's okay. We got the rust off. Got smacked around a little bit by the Bills. And by rust, I don't just mean the players, I mean the coaches too. Because the coaches look like they had some rust on them as well. But it is what it is. I'm not mad at nobody. I'm not worried at all. I was salty in my initial reaction, but in real time, man, it just wasn't a good feeling watching us get spanked on primetime television again. We have a tendency to do that. It's weird. We seem to lose a lot on primetime. Though we also won the Super Bowl on primetime, so it kind of balances things out, I suppose. But it's just it looked like a team that was not playing its best football. And if there's and you can take that as a positive. I surely am, because I do believe we have yet to see the Rams play their best football, and they will play much better than they showcased week 1. I am like I haven't even given it a second thought. Like generally after Rams losses like this, or like big Rams losses, a lot of times I'll be like, man, I don't want to hear no news. I get real salty. I get real salty, and I'm like, after that, be like, man, I don't give a shit about the other games. I don't want to watch the other games. I don't want to watch the news. Like the post games. I have no interest in hearing all the crowing about how good the Bills are. Like I said, I don't got a problem with the Bills. It's just, I just, not interested in hearing it. That's just me. But so it's just but it's been a few days. Rams got smacked around a little bit. Everyone's had their fun, and now it's time to move on to week two. It's going back to pretty much the rust. There were some mechanical things real quick. I'm gonna finish up the Bills real quick, and because I want to end on this note here, just real quick. What I want to see. I thought the big things that killed us was number one, the Bills were the better team. That's one. Number two, we were rusty. Looked like a team that hadn't played football in several months because we were. And the starters had no game time experience at all. Number three, some issues that were present last year showed up again in week one. Am I worried about it? No, but I am slightly concerned and definitely going to keep an eye on it. What am I talking about? Well, things like we'll talk a little bit more about this here later in a few minutes, but the offense, the timing with the receivers did not seem crisp. Offensive line was the biggest issue there. I'll get into them in a few minutes, but just real quick, offensive line looked overpowered. They just did not look like they were. They were just overmatched. They looked completely overmatched in the run game and in the pass pro, especially the pass pro. Especially, and I've crowed and I've ragged on Brian Allen a lot. I'm really not trying to do that right now. Like I'm really not. I'm just being just I'm just being I'm just being objective. Yeah, I'm just telling it like it is. You know what I mean? I'm just telling it like it is. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to hurt no one's feelings, but the line looks so outmatched, dude. It's not good, dude. We really need to turn that around. And like I said, I'll talk about that a little bit here in a little bit. But there's that from last year, the absence of a running game. Um, I feel like that will. I feel like we'll see an improvement in that sooner rather than later. I do believe that, though it is a pretty big concern. But things. We had Daryl Henderson start over Cam Akers, and don't really know what I exactly. Sean talked a little bit about it this week. Apparently, he just wants to see a little more from Cam, which is fine. And I'm okay with the coaches doing that, kind of showing that, hey man, you need to do what you need to do, or there's going to be consequences, and you're going to get benched. I'm completely fine with that. He said that we're going to see more Cam Akers this week, so we'll probably see more. Hopefully, we get a kickstart to that running game. But that was an issue on defense. I saw the makings of a top tier defense. I still believe we'll have a top tier defense. However, and they kept us in the game. They definitely were the reason we were in the game for that entire first half. And despite the score 31-10, despite all that, like it's really looking like our defense is going to be legit for sure. And I was getting that sense. However, Raheem, okay, just the here okay, I want to see more variety in the in the scheme. It just I feel like we were put in this like shell like defense, okay? We trying to give the Bills these 5 yard passes, and we like stayed there the entire game. And I don't know if that was wise. I feel like we should mix in, because the Rams like to do a lot of zone coverage in their defense. I want to see more press man coverage. I'm not saying do it all the time, but you gotta like mix it up, because it one of the most aggravating things about last Thursday was it just because it looked like, and I'm not pretending to be like the biggest schematic like a schematic genius like Sean. Okay, I don't know. I know a lot of it, but I don't know most of it, and the proper verbiage and stuff like that. I've never been a coach. I'm just a fan. So but having said that, it really looks like what was so aggravating. It just looked like the Bills were doing the exact same plays. Do you understand? It's throughout the entire game we were just doing all they were doing was like check down, check down, check down, roll out to the right, check down. Like, because we would be so far off the ball, it was maddening, and we just let them march all up and down the field and score the entire game, and we never challenged them, never. Like, it was easy for them, bro, and it's I just it was that was so aggravating to watch. And Raheem, you have to know in real time. Because here's the thing about defense is you got to be physical. All right? And in history, remember this, y'all. In history, have y'all noticed, like, when it come time, when it's like the playoffs or the Super Bowl, and you have like a number one rated offense throughout the year going up against like a number one rated defense, or like a top tier offense versus a top tier defense in the playoffs. What normally happens? What normally happens is, not every time, but most of the time, the top tier defense wins. And they win because scheme all you want. Like, if you provide some sort of, if you're like given all, if you're disrupting because the offense is all about timing, and like, timing. They have to timing, route running. Everyone knows their assignments, and they gotta kind of move as one, and they have to time everything perfectly. Well, when an offense struggles, a top offense struggles, a lot of time it's because they've run into a very extremely physical defense that's smacking them in the mouth and disrupting the timing. All right. Remember how, like in 2018, anytime we struggled, remember when we had some good offenses and defenses like shut us down? It was because they were playing press, and like getting their hands on us and kind of ruining our timing. And it just threw everything off. All right. You can't, as a defense, be in like a reactive position the entire game. Okay, I understand the philosophy. I understand that's just how the Rams want to play, the type of defense they want to run. But this, if especially on defense, you can't be submissive. Like, you can't be like receiving the punishment from the offense. Just letting the offense just stand back there all day throwing 5 yard passes. He should not be that comfortable at all. At all. Like, you should be up in their face, putting your hands on the receivers, jacking them up at the line, ruining the timing. D line needs to play a lot better. We need to get into their face. Okay, Buffalo's offensive line played very, very well, so credit to them. But we got. I want to see them be more physical. Okay, I do. And Raheem, you can help them by not playing in zone the entire game. Okay, I want to see some I want to see you adapt in the game. Okay, I understand you have a game plan going in, but I feel like it'll help this defense a lot if you're willing to maybe switch things up during the game. Okay, okay. I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just saying. And here's the good news. The good news is I believe we will do that. Okay, I'm getting the feeling. I'm getting the feeling we'll see a lot more press man coverage this week and the weeks to come. Okay, doesn't necessarily not all the damn time. Okay, but you just can't be in the same scheme the entire game. And I feel like they recognize that, and I feel we'll see that. So we'll see. We'll see. We got that, and so those are things I want to see improved upon. But like I said, Bills were the better team. They smacked us around. Boo hoo, right? Boo hoo. We're 0-1. Oh well. Time to get over it. It's time to move on. So we're moving past the Bills, okay? Getting up off the ground, and we're gonna be taking on Atlanta, okay? So we'll talk a little bit about Atlanta here in a little bit, but first, let's go ahead and take a look at the injury report because from that game, the Rams got a few injuries, unfortunately. Notably, Joe Noteboom, our left tackle, our wide receiver 3, and a few others. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we got a total of 5 players on the initial report on Wednesday today. So this is just the initial report. Let's see. So Joe Noteboom was injured, but on Friday, this past Friday, Sean did say he's expected to play in week 2. Okay, he injured his knee, which is not good against the Bills, but Sean is saying that he's good to go. So I trust Sean's decision and the doctor. So if Joe Noteboom is ready to go, then I feel like that's gonna be then he will see him play. So that's good because we need him. All right. So as you can see, this is the Rams and Falcons initial injury report as of right now. The Falcons look pretty. They got Damian Williams, the running back, with a rib injury. He did not practice, but other than that, they're looking pretty good. Brian Allen is a knee injury. He did not practice Wednesday, as we know. He is going to be out for a few weeks, but he did not get put on IR. So you should see him back sooner rather than later. I hope he gets better, but I got to say, I am not too worried with his absence. Just saying. I feel like Coleman Shelton will perform very well. So get better, Brian, because we definitely need all our boys healthy. Van Jefferson, with his knee injury, also did not practice. Sean said they're taking it a week at a time, which does not give me much confidence that we'll see him on Sunday. So it looks like that Van is not quite ready, and he will need more time to heal, which, I mean, get better now because it's September. Take the time to get better because we'll need you in the later half of the year because we have a gauntlet of a schedule. So it's gonna be tough. Anyhow, Joe Noteboom. Let's see. We got his knee. We were just talking about that. Kind of messed up his knee a little bit, but he should be good to go for Sunday. Matt Orsek, the long snapper, has a calf, but he's supposedly going to be able to play as well. And here's a bit of a possible concern. Leonard Floyd was listed as a limited participant, but he has a knee injury. And the knee injury, it's a bit unclear. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that, y'all. Don't know if I'm going to keep this in here, but a damn moth Just flew by my head. Jesus. Might need to cut that out. All right. Leonard Floyd. Yeah. So he has the knee, and they are monitoring his progress, and we'll see. Move on to a little bit of news. So that's the injury report there. Our edge rusher, Chris Garrett, has signed with the Vikings practice squad. So once again, our team gets poached from damn near everyone in the league. Our coaches and players, they just can't keep their grubby little fingers off our players. It's just ever since Sean McVay has gotten here, it just seems like our team gets poached way more than any other team in the league. It just really seems like it. And it comes with the territory, I suppose, with a young coach that's seen a lot of success. Everyone's wanting like, oh, I want me a young Sean McVay too, a young, high energy, successful coach. So pretty much anything Sean McVay touches, I want to snatch up from him. I'm going to scoop him up. Okay, I want to poach all these players. I want to poach all these coaches. I want to take it for myself, because surely Sean McVay's touch has just affected the entire staff and made them instant winners. And in reality, they have. Look who we played in the Super Bowl. Head coach of the Bengals, Zach Taylor, used to work for us. Okay? Used to work for Sean, rather. And he was in the Super Bowl. So Sean kind of knows what he's doing. And all these teams can see it. And they just can't help themselves, man. Just cannot help themselves. So Chris Garrett, I was someone who was really rooting for him and really wanted to see him perform well. I thought he would perform well. Unfortunately, he had a bit of an injury early in OTAs, and he just kind of fell behind, man. He just kind of fell behind and got outplayed by several of his peers. And we have a strong defensive line, so we put him on the practice squad, and then he got poached. So is what it is. That's what happened. So Minnesota decided to scoop him up, and he's just going to their practice squad. And apparently this is the homecoming, because he went to Concordia in college. So perhaps he's closer to family. Okay, that's fine. And that's just pretty much it. He really didn't do a whole lot with us. He was kind of he just was kind of buried in the depth chart, and felt like this year was going to be a big year, but it just didn't happen. And sure enough, how could I almost forgot this. Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, was once our offensive coordinator for the Rams for a couple of years. So there, yet again, another example about one of our coaches being poached constantly. Well, in Kevin's case, it was more of a promotion. It's a little different. I'll admit that, but overall, it's just kind of annoying to see people just poach our stuff. But it comes with the territory. We won the Super Bowl, so what can I say? It's a first world problem, as they say. So good luck to you, Chris. Hopefully you get an opportunity, get to sign on the 53 there, and maybe we'll see you on the field. We'll see. But we are moving on to another transaction. We signed Ode Abaushi. Sorry if I got that wrong. Promoted Cologne to the active roster. And due to the offensive line injuries, Brian Allen's injuries, The Rams are made some moves and made a few tweaks and signed this guy to the practice squad and elevated Jeremiah Cologne to the active roster. And you know, Aboshi was he was a fifth round pick in 2013 by the Jets. He was selected by the Jets. He bounced around. He went to Houston, Seattle, Oakland, Arizona, Detroit, and last year with the Chargers. Okay, that's usually not a good sign if he keeps bouncing around. He played 70 games in his career, made 47 starts, including 5 with the Chargers in 2021. He played with Stafford for 2 years in Detroit in 2019 and 2020. That's interesting. But he got signed, but he's on the practice squad now. So, and we promoted Jeremiah Cologne. I was not too impressed with Mr. Cologne's performance in the preseason, so hopefully we don't have to see him on the field. Hopefully everyone can remain healthy for the remainder of the year. It's a lot to ask, but I think we can do it. So no more injuries, please. Knock on table. But okay, welcome to the team. And we can kind of transition here to the O-line, to our starters. And Coleman Shelton moved to center. Could it spark the Rams running game? Here's the thing. I actually think I'm a little excited to watch Coleman Shelton because I feel like our running game's going to improve significantly week 2 against the Falcons. I do. I'm a glass half full right now. I'm pretty optimistic, as they say. I'm feeling pretty optimistic. About this. It's just a feeling, y'all. It's just a feeling in my soul. I just feel like our running game's going to improve. And we're going to see the results of it in week 2 here. So, as you know, offensive line kind of got shook up a little bit. Andrew Whitworth retired. Austin Corbett got scooped up, I think it was by Carolina in free agency. And Joe Noteboom, who has been a long-time member of the team, but as a reserve tackle, has now been thrust into the starting role. I still think he will be fine. Didn't look too great Thursday night, but it was maybe it's the first game jitters. Hopefully he'll get over that. But Brian Allen got hurt, messed up his knee. He will miss 2 to 4 weeks. And Coleman Shelton, who beat out our rookie guard Logan Bruss from Wisconsin, if y'all know, someone who a lot of fans were excited about, including myself. I actually thought he would win the starting job at some point in the year. Unfortunately, he will not be with us on the field, rather, because he is torn his ACL and he will be out for the remainder of the year, which is unfortunate. But, even though that happened, it had looked like Coleman Shelton had beaten him for the starting right guard position, okay, which is right next to the center, as y'all know. So that's where they put him. And with Brian Allen being injured, they are now moving Shelton back to center, and I think he will perform well. I think he'll perform well because he played center a bit for us last year when Brian was hurt in 2021, and he played well. I thought Coleman Shelton was great. There's a lot of brouhaha about him being left-handed and how that's going to affect his relationship with Stafford in terms of like hiking him the ball. I'm not worried about that. And like I'm not worried about it. It'll be fine. It was fine last year. It'll be fine this year. It'll be good. That's not something to worry about. And I feel like he looked really good at the center position. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I know I'm hard on Brian Allen. I know I am. And I know a lot of it is because I'm still salty that we didn't draft Creed Humphrey 2 drafts ago. Instead we drafted Tutu Atwell. All right, I'm still salty about that. But and Creed Humphrey is doing just fine for himself right now in Kansas City, I believe. So, but be that as it may, that's old news. Shelton looked really good. And I kind of felt like almost keeping him there. You know, last year I felt this. Last year I was like, man, maybe we should keep Coleman in there, you know? But they put Brian back in, and it was a thing where Brian was playing well. Brian was playing well, and I'm like, well, all right. I mean, Brian's playing well. Coaches like him. He's back. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. So I was cool with it, but I kind of was leaning towards Shelton, man. Like I really was. I was leaning towards letting him stay there. And well, here we are again. Brian got hurt, and Shelton's going to be moved to the center position, so he will be starting. So the center position is going to be fine. I believe we're going to be fine there. Okay? It's a question of I believe the interior of our O line is the weakest. All right, like they just got ran over by Buffalo's D line. Could not handle them. All right, could not handle them, and Shelton was a part of that, being at right guard, but him being at center, I feel like that will improve. And who's going to be replacing Shelton at right guard is very interesting. It will be Mr. Tremaine Edmunds, who will be making his first start. And, I got to tell you, I'm a little excited. I'm a little excited. It's just one of those things where I just have a feeling like I've never really seen him play. The dude was from Clemson. He was really productive there. And, I've heard like reports in the pressers and like the beat writers throughout the years. They're saying Ankrum looks good. Not great. Not great, but he looked good. He looked good in practice. And it was just a situation. And I've thought this a few times where I'm like, man, I kind of want to see if he's actually good or not, but Tremaine was just buried on the depth chart, and he just never really got a chance to play. Well, now he has it, you know, and I'm very excited to see what he can do. And here's just some stats. Shelton played 90% of the snaps, and the Rams rushed for 128 yards against Jacksonville Jaguars last year, 89 against the Cardinals, and 159 against the Vikings. Okay, so this is while Coleman Shelton was at center, and Sony Michel was our running back, and kind of feel like we shouldn't have let him go, but hey, it is what it is. And throughout that time, Shelton had the second best run blocking grade against the Cardinals. It was 62.4, rush for 128 yards, and has a 63.6 percentage as a run blocker. So basically, like I was saying, I feel like he's gonna be good for us. And I'm excited to see how Ankrum will play at the right guard position, because if he plays well, If he play, I don't, dude. If he plays well, could open up some discussions maybe because we have him. Shelton is solid. If Ankrum can play well, and him and David Edwards too, y'all got to open up some lanes. Y'all got to open up some running lanes, man, for the running backs. We got Rob Havenstein, who was solid. He was beat a few times too, but that's going to happen. So I feel like he'll be good, and Noteboom's got to play a little better too. So maybe this is an opportunity to go back to the heavy sets, extra linemen for Atlanta, and maybe that should kind of help, kind of jumpstart this run game. So we'll see. We'll see. It's definitely one of the things I'm going to keep an eye on during the game, but I'm excited to see how it goes. However, though, let's go ahead and talk about the Falcons a little bit, just a little bit, and they won't be an easy out, as the title says here, and I tend to agree. None of these teams really in the NFL is really an easy game for the most part, but throughout the offseason, I'm thinking, oh, Atlanta, this should be an easy win for us. The Falcons are trash. I feel like we're gonna smash them come week 2. I was not worried about the Falcons at all, at all. But it's funny because we get smacked around by the Bills. All right, it's Sunday, watching football. The Rams aren't playing. I'm like, well, go watch the Jags, see how the Jags are doing, see how everyone else is doing, and I find out that the Falcons were in a nail biter with the Saints, who is a good team respectively, and the Falcons look good. They lost by like a last second field goal, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness. Okay, well, the Falcons all of a sudden got good, and now we have to play them. So that is that is just how it is. That's just how it is. So yeah, they lost the Saints in the final seconds with a last second field goal, but they blew a lead. They actually blew a massive lead. They were up 26-10 with some time in the fourth quarter, but the Saints scored 17 unanswered points on them. That is crazy. I'm hesitant to talk a little bit of trash because the Falcons seem to be a team that has problems holding on to leads, as we kind of learned a few years ago in the Super Bowl. Shanahan, by the way, was the coach of that team. And by the way, I was rooting for you, Shanahan, and I was rooting for the Falcons, but you couldn't keep a 28-3 lead against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. You just had to let them catch up and win. You just had to let them do it. Just awesome job. Awesome job. Letting them have yet another Super Bowl trophy. Great job. Great job. But that is old news as well. And Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota will be a problem. I've always liked him. When he was drafted, he didn't set the world on fire, but I thought he was solid. And apparently, he's a good rusher too. Him and Cordell Patterson combined for 192 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns on 34 carries. 34 carries. So they like to run the ball. So y'all better be ready. Don't let them run all over y'all. Because one thing that will get me hot is watching the Atlanta Falcons run right down our throats. Run the football just right down our throats. Just push us off the ball. Dude, it'll drive me nuts. So look out for that. Mariota rushed for 72 yards against the Saints. That's pretty impressive. 2-yard touchdown run. Had a 2-yard touchdown run. That's pretty impressive. And he threw the ball relatively well. So he was 20 for 33. No turnovers. Kyle Pitts was a favorite of his. Um, it's a tight end, so he likes throwing to his tight ends, you know. So he's probably looking for the checkdowns, much like Josh Allen did to us. So we got to be ready for that. Uh, Drake London, he's a rookie wideout. Don't really know a whole lot about him, but apparently he's really good. And this writer here is suggesting Jalen be put on him. So I'm guessing he's like their best receiver. You know, so he caught 5 passes for 74 yards. So he's pretty good. So they probably will put Jalen on him, is what they're saying. And I'm interested to see because I don't know anything about him, but you know, put Jalen on the best receiver for sure. But I could see Jalen kind of maybe moving to cover Kyle Pitts. All right, the tight end, because it says here that Mariota's very it was one of his favorite targets last week. So it's like he's comfortable with him. It's like Matthew Stafford's connection with Cup. You know how y'all see how Matthew is very comfortable throwing the ball to Cup? That's kind of what I'm feeling here. So if it gets to a point where Mariota's completing some passes to Pitts, we might have to put Jalen on him. So just something to keep an eye out. He's the tight end. On the defense, they have Grady Jarrett on the interior. He's pretty good. AJ Terrell locking down receivers on the outside. Jarrett had a 1.5 sacks, 2 quarterback hits in the loss of the Saints. And that's who's gonna be going up against Tremaine Edmunds. So yikes. Yikes. Probably have to shift some help to Tremaine, see, get him a little bit of help, maybe just to see how he does. But who knows? Maybe he can handle his business. That's the goal. That is the hope. So we'll see. Here's the thing: if they're sending blitzes, they're definitely going to send it towards Tremaine Edmunds because they can tell he's a guard who has not played at all in the NFL in any kind of meaningful game. So if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm like putting my best players on Tremaine Edmunds. I'm like blitzing them through him. I'm like sending multiple blitzes through his gap, and it's the Rams should be aware of that because it could cause some problems, and I'm sure that they are. So maybe having that extra back, maybe right behind Ingram, but we'll see. We'll see. Ultimately, the Rams are favored by 10.5 points over the Falcons. Jesus, holy but Jesus. But the Falcons are good, so I mean they better come ready. They better come ready because the Falcons are gonna. It's gonna be another tough game, y'all. So, but I feel like the Rams will bounce back. I feel like we're gonna play very, very well. Very rarely do Sean loses 2 games in a row, and I feel like this is gonna be a bounce back game, and I actually believe that we'll take it to the Falcons. I know I kind of went and said we were going to handle the Bills, and that did not work out too great. But I do believe we should. I think it'll be closer than it really should be, but I think we should still be able to handle the Falcons. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. I'm going to go ahead and catch you on the next one. And as always, go Rams.